Only once every 1,000 years does an eating challenge appear with the ability to blow everyone away. The Eggscellent Challenge is that challenge. 12 eggs, chili, cheese, biscuits, and a fruit ball. Finish in under an hour and your party eats for free.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Binging with Babish, where this week we're celebrating 3 million subscribers by taking the Eggscellent Challenge. Before we take a crack at this, so to speak, I wanted to give you guys a look behind the scenes of my new kitchen and apartment. If you want to see the regular episode, skip to about the 2-minute 45-second mark. Otherwise, let's join me up on the roof. Thanks, me. So we're up on the roof of my new apartment, my studio kitchen, my home office, and as you can see, a lot of things have changed since we hit 1 million subscribers, and a lot of things have happened that would not be possible without all of your incredible support over the past 2 years. So thank you so much for subscribing, for watching the show, and for just being an amazing audience. I really appreciate it. I love making the show for you guys, and I've got a whole bunch of exciting new tools to make the show with, so let's go take a look at them. Let's head back downstairs. So this is the office where This is the office where I edit all the episodes of Binging with Babish, and I do the voiceover, and this is my best friend and business partner, Sawyer, who does all the hard legal work and occasionally cleans up my messes. This is my bedroom where I iron my apron before shooting every episode, and often several times during. And this is the all-new Binging with Babish kitchen, which I'm super excited about. It's been way easier to make the show. I don't know if you saw the last kitchen, but it was pretty cramped, tiny little railroad apartment up in Harlem. Now I've moved downtown and I got a 6-burner Vulcan stove. It's been so great to shoot straight across this with this camera. Got multiple cameras. I've upgraded to a nice cinema lens here on the A7Ss. 3 big work surfaces. We've got the big booze block, kept this from the last apartment. This will always stay with me. This is the table upon which Binging with Babish was birthed. So this kitchen has really cool fridges and freezers. They're restaurant sort of drawer style ones, which is really great, makes everything very accessible, and a ton of room in these 4 guys. Plus, I get to keep all my seltzer right in here. Then if you come on over here, you'll see the state-of-the-art trash can, which, check this out. Open can. I never use that feature. And then as you can see, I've got a bunch of these Ninja Flame 4K monitors and field recorders here. There's Tim. See Tim? I'd say hi, Tim. So now, if you don't mind, I think we should get down to business of making the Eggscellent Challenge. Let's eat some eggs. Okay, so first things first, we gotta make us some chili. Now we've made a lot of chili on this show, so I'm just gonna make a super baseline, standard, no power windows chili. I'm going to start by dicing 1 Spanish onion, 1 green pepper, and 4 cloves of garlic. Then over on the stove, we're browning the ground chuck. Simply heat over high flame until you get some nice brown stuff and some delicious fond on the bottom of the pot. And those that are fond of me know that I am fond of fond. Drain off all but a little bit of the beef fat and sweat the onions and peppers within it. Once those are nice and soft, add the garlic, a couple tablespoons of chili powder, a good shake of white pepper, and a little shake of cumin. Let those flavors just get to know each other for 30 seconds to 1 minute just to toast up the spices and get the garlic all aromatic before adding 1 can of crushed tomatoes, along with 1 to 1.5 cans worth of water and our brown ground round. I'm also going to add 1 can of kidney beans and the adobo sauce from one of those cans of chipotle peppers and adobo sauce, and a teaspoon each smoked paprika and oregano. Stir this guy over medium-low heat for about an hour, taste testing every now and then so you see how the flavors develop over time until you've got a nice, thick, basic chili. Look at that. Gorgeous. And now onto an element that I'm much more excited about, making biscuits. Into a bowl, I'm measuring 675 grams of flour, 2 tablespoons of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of baking soda, and 1 teaspoon of table salt or 2 teaspoons of kosher salt. Sift those all together into an inadvisably small bowl, and then we're cutting up into tablespoon-sized pieces some butter fresh out the fridge. We want this as cold as possible. For the same reason we want butter cold in puff pastry, we don't want it melting until it gets in the oven. Try doggedly to make your small bowl work before inevitably putting it into a larger bowl, and use 2 butter knives or steak knives to cut the butter into the flour. We want to keep going until the butter is the size of small peas. At this point, we are adding 2 cups of buttermilk and beginning to fold together using a rubber spatula. We don't want to overmix or over-knead our dough because we want to maintain those little chunks of butter to get all those desirable flaky layers. So less knead your dough and more coax it together. Convince it to form a cohesive ball that we're then going to refrigerate for 10 minutes before rolling out and cutting into the desired shapes. In this case, biscuit shapes. Make sure you dust your cutter with flour and cut swiftly because we want clean cuts down the side of each biscuit. Any pinching will inhibit rise. Place these on a parchment-lined baking sheet and give them a generous brush of butter. You can also hit the tops with some flaked sea salt, but either way, these guys are going into a 425-degree Fahrenheit oven for 15 to 20 minutes or until golden brown and flaky. We're going to place these on a wire rack to cool for 10 to 20 minutes, but these are best eaten warm. So let us make quick work of breaking down our fruit. I'm not going to bore you with how to cut up melons. We got some watermelon, cantaloupe, and honeydew melon that we're going to cut down into about 1-inch cubes until we've accrued a sum total of 5 pounds of fresh fruit. This alone would be a challenge to eat all in one sitting, but let's add some eggs to the equation. The eggs in the show are described as an omelet with peppers and mushrooms. So we're simply slicing up a bunch of peppers and mushrooms and getting a tablespoon or 2 of butter nice and foamy in a large cast iron skillet over medium heat. Once the foam subsides, we're going to add our mushrooms along with a generous pinch of salt. This is not only for seasoning, but also to help the mushrooms give up all their mushroomy moisture. So once the mushrooms have dried out a little bit, we're going to add the peppers and saute the whole affair until everybody's nice and soft. You'd probably want to add some garlic or onions or something, but I'm trying to be pretty literal with this challenge, so we're just keeping it to mushrooms and peppers. And now for the big show, the dozen egg omelet. I'm going to start by heating up both olive oil and butter in the bottom of a heavy cast iron pan, beating together my eggs and dumping them in. I'm going with medium heat because I want to partially cook these eggs the whole way through before letting them set. So I'm going to keep these boys moving with a fork until curds start to form. Kind of like you do for a French omelet, this is going to help make our eggs less tough. You want to keep doing this until you can start to see the bottom of the pan when you move the fork around. This is the point at which we let the eggs cook and let a sort of omelet crust form. After about 2 minutes of this, I'm going to dump in our fillings and fold this guy shut. Case closed. Sorry. And now, at long last, it is time to assemble. Onto a large platter, I'm going to deposit our egg monstrosity, our eggstrosity, top it with 4 full cups of our chili. I was very, very surprised to find out that I had made just enough. Good thing, otherwise this might have turned out, I don't know, appetizing. We're topping that with 2 cups of shredded American cheese and a slightly more reasonable 2 buttermilk biscuits. And there you have it, the Eggscellent challenge. There's only one more vital ingredient they didn't mention on the show. There we go. Keep those guys at the ready and start the timer. Now, I am not what you'd call a competitive eater, but this doesn't look so bad. And it actually tastes pretty good. This chili isn't going to win any awards at county fairs, but it's pretty solid, and the eggs are properly cooked, and there's lots and lots of cheese. Very few things to complain about. So in the end, it was pretty easy to blow through the whole thing with just 6 minutes to go. And if you don't believe me, let's play back the whole thing sped up so you can see that there are no cuts and that I finished the entire thing, and I'm just kidding, I gave up after like 5 minutes. I definitely could have gotten through about half of this thing, but I decided it wasn't worth getting really super sick to eat all this and elected instead to share it with my comrades. In the end, we put a pretty big dent in this thing and we saved the fruit and ate it for breakfast the next day. So I'm sorry if that's anticlimactic, but I'm days away from turning 31 and I don't want to die. Anyway, it's time to do some shots to celebrate 3 million subscribers. My life has changed wildly over the past 2 years, and I would not be where I am today without my beautiful friends, my beautiful family, and especially you beautiful people watching at home. Thank you so much. But wait, we're still not done. We still need to pick a winner for the Babish Panini Challenge. So let's head back to the office. All right, dude, let's find some entrants for the Panini Challenge here.
Let's go.
We got like 250 on Instagram. We got a bunch on Twitter, a bunch on YouTube. People made videos. Some of them like did like a parody. Hashtag, I don't know, Babish Panini.
Can do, Andrew.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to another episode of Singeing with Babish.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Munching with Mattish.
Hey, what's up, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Binging with J-Mac.
So he's grilling up the sausages first, or sauteing the sausages. Oh, he's cutting in the pan. No, dude. Ruin your knife and your pan.
We're not gonna use this, Steve. We're doing something different.
Homemade mole, made with Reese's peanut butter cups and nacho cheese Doritos.
Chorizo sausage to fill in for the sausage. Then we're gonna take these guys, we're gonna melt them down.
Instead of a panini, I'm gonna do a quesadilla.
Along with some kind of Dorito French toast concoction.
This is the guy with the dipping sauce and a really cool beard and deep V. He's rocking the deep chest hair. So, guys rocking the deep V.
There. That's well established.
Yeah, and he's got a Lord of the Rings tattoo.
Instead of the Vienna sausage fingers, I'm going to use chorizo.
Some corn tortilla chips.
Some plain digestives.
And let's throw in a 1/4 cup of our Dorito breadcrumb mix.
I candied the bacon with a little brown sugar and fresh cracked black pepper.
Let's start talking like Mary Berry and Paul Hollywood.
I wish.
It looks positively scrummy.
Butter looks set.
This is raw. I can't eat that.
I'm gonna eat that.
Don't eat that, Mary.
Where's the chip? Where's the chip?
No chip.
The flake of the croissant?
Please.
I mean, it's a delicious thing.
No, it looks. No, it's not delicious. I'm
I
sorry.
think it would be.
Hazelnut spread and eggs, bro.
Could be something. Could be something there.
He's a nice guy. He's drinking a whiskey. He's listening to Redditor. He's got all the elements in place. Huh. The better version of the Babish panini doesn't exist. It's funny.
You're not addressing the tasty, zangy, zingy, Doritos-y dustiness, though. You know.
Zangy zingy is cheesecake through and through, bud.
You're right. It's just,
This is zangy.
It's as zangy as anything else. Yeah.
Okay, now there's some very good photography here.
Very good. That's a stock image.
Okay, so we've looked at hundreds of entries over the past month, and thank you guys so much for trying this out. Thank you for enduring the disgusting creations that you've happened across.
Let's go do it. Let's check them out.
To the lab. So I'd like to congratulate Redditor Great Muffins for winning the challenge with their goat cheese chorizo, cheddar crisp, and mole panini. So the first thing we gotta do is make mole, the ingredients of which are laid before you here. Step 1 is to stem and seed pasilla, guajillo, and ancho dried chilies, saving a few tablespoons of the seeds if desired. We're gonna heat a cast iron pan over medium heat until hot, and then we're going to dry roast the chilies for about 2 minutes until they smell warm and fragrant. I used too many chilies, so we're going to place about a dozen of them into a high-powered blender. Next up, we're going to toast some spices. Let's start with a teaspoon each whole cloves and peppercorns, 3 bay leaves, crumbled, a few tablespoons of our reserved chili seeds, and 1 whole cinnamon stick that we're going to break with our hands, just like that, or we're going to go off camera, smash it with a hammer, and then come back and pretend that we broke it with our hands so we look strong and capable. We're going to dry roast these also for about 2 minutes until the seeds darken, and then set them aside so we can toast up some tortilla. I've got a nice big stale corn tortilla here that I'm tearing into pieces using my strength, and I'm just going to toast these up with a little bit of oil until they turn nice and brown. I'm going to do the same thing with a single slice of white bread. These are going to emulsify in the blender and help give body to our sauce. So toss those into the blender, and then it's time to roast some nuts. 1/3 cup each of peanuts, almonds, pumpkin seeds, and raisins, which I know are not nuts. We're going to roast these as well with a little bit of vegetable oil for about 1 minute before adding a 1/4 cup of sesame seeds. Let this go for 1 more minute before also placing in the blender. And lastly, we gotta do our garlic, onions, and tomatoes. We're gonna get our pan nice and hot before adding the onions, the garlic, and 1 large tomato quartered. Ideally, you want to also add some tomatillos, but I couldn't find any, so sorry. Try to let those sit undisturbed for a minute or 2 until they develop some nice color, like this right here. Then in the last 30 seconds of cooking, we're going to add a 1/4 teaspoon each dried thyme, marjoram, and aniseed. Let those flavors just barely get to know each other before removing from the heat and dumping, like all things, into the blender. We're then going to cover the whole affair with 4 cups of boiling chicken stock. This is going to get everybody nice and soft for the trauma that is to come. Pop the lid on, make sure it's secure, and let it be for 10 whole minutes. I said 10 minutes, Babish, hands off. Get out of here. 10 minutes later and it's time to blend. And if you're anything like me, you'll be mesmerized by the colors for a second, and then you're going to blend it for about 2 minutes, or until very smooth. We're then going to dump this mixture into a waiting pan, heating slowly and gently for about an hour, which is both going to deepen the flavors and, abracadabra, the color. And now it's time to make our sauce nice and smooth by running it through a fine mesh sieve. Not screwing around, using the right size bowl this time. And then after trying fruitlessly to get anything through your sieve, go ahead and move it to a slightly less fine mesh sieve. Stir and push it around for a few minutes until you are left with a thick paste up top and a smooth puree down below, which we are going to put back into a saucepan over medium heat and add the final wacky ingredient. About 4 ounces of chopped bittersweet chocolate. You might need to add sugar if necessary, but otherwise there you go. You've got genuine, except for the tomatillos, mole. Now we've got to make some quick cheddar cheese crisps. We're just going to make little mounds of cheddar on a non-stick surface and bake at 425 for about 10 minutes until cheese crisps crisps happen, which we're going to put on a wire rack to cool. Last up, our stand-in for Cadbury eggs, some goat cheese cream, which we're going to make simply by blending together 5 ounces of goat cheese with a few tablespoons of heavy cream and a little splash of honey for sweetness. Just blend on high speed until you've got a thick, spreadable cream that's hopefully going to cut through all the spice and sharpness in this sandwich. Try not to knock over your blowtorch as you retrieve your chorizo from the fry pan. And for ease of sandwichcraft, I'm going to cut this guy into 4 manageable pieces. Then finally, it's time to assemble. I've got 2 slices of sourdough bread here that I've toasted on one side to provide a little bit of protection against all the wet stuff in this sandwich. I'm obviously buttering the outside, spreading a thin layer of mole on the bottom of the first slice, topping with the sausage, topping that with our cheddar cheese crisp, and then a reasonable dollop of our goat cheese cream. Into the sandwich press it goes. When it comes out, nobody knows except me. It'll come out in like 2 to 3 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes later, and we've got ourselves a sandwich. Remove it from the situation using a spatula, and let's get a cross-section going. Now, in the submissions, there were more impressive cross-sections, there were more creative ideas, there were more complex recipes, but this one was good enough to be my lunch. Would I recommend it for recreational recreation? Not really, but it's the absolute best of a bad situation. Good job, Great Mum Muffins, and good job all the runners-up, who will all be getting a copy of my cookbook. Just slide into my DMs.
There's got to be a way where you do this where your face isn't right underneath it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, ready?
Yep. All right, you gotta. Why don't you just get underneath me and go like this?
One.
Here we go. Thanks, me. Thanks, me. I'm hearing my.
One.
Let's take a tour of the place. Oh, so. Get some real steam going there. Is that, can you see that?
Yeah.
That's what people want to see.
Sorry.